Hello, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining again. My name is Bruno, and as always, we're going to talk about exciting topics. All right. The last time we spoke about taxes and how people, depending on how they earn their money, gets taxed. All right. We talked about employees. We talked about business owners or self-employed. Today, we're going to take it a step further. All right. And I'm going to explain why every single person out there needs to consider the possibility of owning a business or starting a business. All right, it may be out of convenience or just out of necessity. All right, but you need to figure out what works for you. Now, I'm going to take some time and just list out some reasons why you may want to consider starting a business. Now, I understand there are people out there with different opinions. All right, if you're one of those people who is actually looking or deciding whether or not to start a business, this may help you out. If you want to stay employed, 100% okay, all right? But at least take the information for what it's worth. Maybe you can teach that to someone else or send it to someone who may leverage the information, all right? These are just some of the reasons why you should start a business. And I could go through 100,000,000 reasons why you should. And of course, I could go through a zillion other reasons why you should not. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to your personal decision. It's going to come down to your personal aspirations or your passions or your goals. All right. So these are just some of the reasons why you should consider starting a business. And I'm going to go through this. I love this. It's a cash flow quadrant that is perfectly explained in a book called I think Rich Dad Poor Dad, if I'm not mistaken, by Robert Kiyosaki. He does a great job at explaining this cash flow quadrant, and I'm going to touch on that. But why start a business? All right, why start a business, especially in the 21st century when things are changing like crazy? Jobs are not secure. People are losing their jobs left, right, center. The healthcare industry is losing a lot of employees. The IT industry, even though there was an influx, more people are getting jobs, more people are losing their jobs. All right, there is no stability right here. All right, because the economy is changing, technologies, is improving. Robotics and machine learning and AI is taking over, over a bunch of jobs. So it's never been the perfect time to at least consider starting your own business or running your own business. Now we're going to talk on what types of businesses exist, though. All right, but why start a business? The first point I have on here is the income potential. All right, how much you earn when you actually own a business. All right, you notice that when you're an employee, you're limited to whatever the employer is paying you, whatever they've allocated for that job. Now, if they say as a nurse you can only make 45K a year, that's it. That's all you can make as a nurse. If you want to make more than this, then you have to work way harder. You would have to pick overtime. You have to work 16-hour days. All right, 16-hour days, you have to work maybe 6 days a week or maybe 7 days a week. I know nurses and doctors that work 7 days a week, no days off. They have kids, but who cares? They have to pay the bills. All right, they have to keep they have to keep the clock ticking. So it comes down to when you're an employee, you're limited to how much you can make. When you're a business owner, you increase that potential exponentially. Now, there is no limit to how much you can make as a business owner. Don't get me wrong, I'm not just staying on the positive side. Today, I'm going to stay on the positive side. I'm going to make another series talking about the negatives. All right, today, let's stay positive. Your income potential. You could go from making $45,000 a year to literally making $100,000 or more a year. All right, or 200,000, or 500,000, or $1 million. There is endless limitations or endless possibilities to when you're a business owner. All right, the income potential is huge. Time freedom. You also know that when you're an employee, you're tied to the clock. I know people that work in companies where they have mandatory overtime. So it doesn't matter if you had a soccer game or you had a wedding or you had a funeral or there was an emergency at home. Those companies mandate you to do overtime. It doesn't matter if it was your weekend off. You still have to come in for the overtime because it's mandatory. All right. So with that, you're stuck to a schedule. You're stuck to a 9 to 5 p.m. or you're stuck to an 8 to 4 p.m. or or afternoon shift or night shift. So you're stuck to, you know, a particular time, you know, time in a day where you have to show up to work. All right. So you can't really celebrate, you know, having some time freedom, because again, your time is limited in a day. And if you're spending 8 hours of your day at work already, that's if you just want to stay basic. Most people go for way more than just, you know, 8 hours a day. Of course, money freedom, to the fact that you can spend way more money if you're making more as well. Of course, if you're limited to just your salary or your wage, then of course there is not, you know, enough to spend. Because you can make more, you can also spend more, you know, when you're a business owner. Now, don't get me wrong. There are people that have an income, that are employees, that make multiple six figures. All right, I was one of them. Back in my days of working in IT, I had multiple six-figure jobs. All right, so that was me. But you're making $250K. I know people making $500,000 in IT. All right, some doctors make way more than that. But at the end of the day, it still comes down to, you know, right, you're exchanging time for money. Of course, don't get me wrong. When I explain this, it's going to answer some of those questions. And of course, you're dependent on someone paying you. So when we go right down, we're going to talk about security. But here it talks about control of lifestyle and schedule, because when you're a business owner, you can decide when you want to work and how you want to live. You want to work 9 to 5. You want to work 16-hour days. You want to work 2-hour days. You want to work 1-hour days. You want to take time off whenever you want. That gives you the flexibility, time control, and lifestyle control, of course. Then there is tax benefits, right? The last video, I talked about the tax benefits of being a business owner or a self-employed. All right, the tax benefits are enormous. You can't even imagine it. All right, they are huge. Talk to your CPA or talk to a licensed tax strategist, and they can explain more about taxes and the benefits that come with you owning a legitimate business, registered and all, everything legal. All right. Then of course there is security. You know, like I mentioned, I know a lot of IT folks, a lot of people in IT, a lot of people in engineering that have lost their job within the past couple of months, just because their jobs were either obsolete from, you know, the company has outsourced the jobs overseas, whether it's cheap labor, to Asia, India, or, you know, Pakistan, or whatever country it is, because instead of paying you here in the US $150K or $100,000 in some cases, instead of paying you $100,000, they prefer to outsource this job to India and pay someone over there $20K. So imagine if you alone is making, you're charging this company $100,000, and they could split your $100,000 to employ 5 people out in India. Don't you think they're going to do that? Of course they're going to do it. They're going to do it, and they're already doing it. And that's why a lot of people are losing their jobs in the IT space. All right. And of course in engineering and you know, any factories, you know, because there is cheap labor out there. So companies are going to decide to outsource those jobs. So here, you're not secure. All right. There are funny stories, honestly. All right. People, you know, get locked off of their system. They show up to work, they get fired. Companies are laying off staff, you know, 10,000 staff by Google, 20,000 staff by whatever company it is. So people are losing their jobs like crazy. So again, you can't fully guarantee, you know, job security, because someone else is deciding on whether or not you get paid. Someone has authority or autonomy over whether or not you are employed or whether or not you get a paycheck. So of course, there's that lack of security right there. Then of course, I love being a business owner or an entrepreneur because, you know, I believe personally that success is in the process and not the destination. You know, a lot of people, the reason why they start on their entrepreneurial journey or their business, you know, journey and give up halfway is because they are too focused on the destination. They are too focused on making money. They are too focused on, you know, making even way more money, and of course the time. But you should understand that it takes a lot of patience and time and, you know, work and mental toughness and consistency and persistency and you know, emotional control and mindset to actually build a business. It takes time. All right, it takes years literally to build a successful business. So what you're gonna discover when you start building your business is, the reason I say it's the process is because you're gonna go through this time of, you know, having to develop your mindset, your reading ability, your research ability, you know, your ability to feel comfortable asking for help, talking to people, making mistakes, recovering from them, you know, creating, coming back, stuff like that. They build your mental toughness. They build you as a person. You get to network with people and know how other people think and how they interpret and perceive things. You know, this people skill. These are things you learn in your journey to becoming an entrepreneur, in your journey to becoming a business owner. And that's why I say it's the process and not the destination, because you notice that you know, going just through this process of building your business, the destination is not the ultimate goal anymore. All right, because eventually, if you're patient enough and you keep doing what you're supposed to do, you eventually get to the destination. All right. But when you focus too much on the results, that's why you're going to quit along the way, because when your results are not coming as fast as you want them, you're going to quit. All right. But if you enjoy the process, though, if you enjoy the process, you're going to eventually get to your destination. All right. Now, there are multiple businesses out there. There are businesses you can start on a spare time basis, which means you barely have time because you're probably busy at your job. You don't have enough time to spend on a business. So there are some businesses that you can actually operate on a spare time basis. All right. We're going to do another series talking details on which types of businesses those are. There are businesses you can do just sometimes. All right. Whenever you get the time to do it. There are some businesses like that. There are some businesses that you can do on a part-time basis, which means you're probably still employed full-time, and then you can leverage your some of your time within the week or within the month to do your business. So it's a part-time basis, all right? Then of course there are businesses you can go in full-time, all right? This is what I tell most people, especially when you have responsibilities, you have a family, you have, you know, people that are dependent on you. If you're thinking of starting a business, you're thinking of venturing out there, at least, you know, testing the waters, you know, you want to look for a business model that allows you to either do it spare time, sometimes, or part-time, all right, while you still keep your full-time employment. The reason that is because you know, you're going to spend your weekends or your evenings actually building your business. So you're going to spend 8 hours, of course, helping someone else build their dream, because wherever you work, whatever hospital, whatever factory or company you work at, that is literally someone's dream. Someone somewhere, sometime back, years or a couple of months ago, thought of owning a hospital, owning a factory, owning a business, owning whatever, an IT company or whatever company it is. And you're helping them realize their dreams every single day. And they're paying you $45,000 or $100,000 or $200,000 or $500,000. So while you spend the 8 hours building their dream, how about when you come back home or on the weekends, you spend 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours building your own dream. So you want to look away, especially when you get started, for a business that can allow you to do some of these. Work on a spare time basis, sometime basis, or a part-time basis. Then eventually, when your income is enough to replace your full-time income, guess what? You can then go, sorry, I shouldn't be doing this. When your part-time or sometime or spare time income is enough to replace your full-time, your employment, guess what? You can then go full-time. But there are people who are gonna off the cuff just jump in and ride the tide, all right? Kudos to that. But this is ideal for most of us, all right? I started my business on a spare time basis, all right? When I was still working in IT, I was building my business on a spare time basis. I got to a point where I thought, well, I think now I can probably handle the pressure. All right, I can probably handle the pressure, so I went in full time. Now let me explain what this means. The cash flow quadrant. Now there are 4 types of people. I know the other day I said there are 2 types of people. All right, but we're talking about taxes and how, you know, the 2 types of people either fall in as an employee or business owner. Now let's break it down a little bit more. All right, you're going to discover that there are you fall in at least one of these quadrants, all right? And depending on which side of the quadrant you fall, are you on the left side, which means you are still somehow dependent on you, or are you on the right side, which means you're leveraging systems, all right? As an employee, the E here stands for employee. Of course, you are dependent on someone writing you a paycheck. You are dependent on someone paying you, all right? So of course, the time freedom, the money freedom, you can't get that over here as an employee. You're paying way too much in taxes, all right? And you can barely survive here. It's like a rat race. You keep going, exchanging time for money, doing the same thing, repeat. It's hard to get out of here, all right? It's hard to really get financial freedom and time freedom from here in most cases. Don't get me wrong. There are some people that literally save money, but they eventually start a business. If you're 100% dependent on employment, I don't see a way out personally though. And then there are self-employed. So self-employed are basically people who don't depend on someone paying them, they now pay themselves. So these are folks who have kind of opened their own quote-unquote business, but they're typically self-employed, which means the day they don't show up to work, they don't earn anything. So the difference between you and this person is just that this person, there is someone, an employer, paying them, but here you are your employer. I could put it that way because you're self-employed. These are people like if you drive Uber, you're self-employed. Because at Uber, with Uber, all you're doing is, you wake up every day, you drive people around, and you make money. All right. The reason I say you're self-employed is because the day you don't drive that Uber, right? The day you don't drive Uber or Lyft, you don't make any money. Literally, the day you stop working, your income stops immediately. If you're a barber, you cut hair, you're probably self-employed. Because the day you don't show up, if you only have one chair, of course, the day you don't show up is you have no income, literally. If you are a hairdresser, you do hair for ladies. If you are the only person doing that hair, if you don't show up that day, no income for you, all right? So you're self-employed. So the risk of you, having a financial disaster is just as likely as this person over here. But guess what? Most people start here, but the ultimate goal is to get there or there. Same as here. You start as an employee, but your ultimate goal should be a business owner or an investor. That's your ultimate goal. This is where you find financial freedom and time freedom. So it doesn't matter if you're still here. This is not a bad thing. Most of us start here. I started here. Most people start here. The financial professionals I coach, the business partners that I coach and I mentor, everyone is probably still here or started here, all right? As a business owner, what does a business owner do? Now you leverage systems. Now you're the one employing other people. Now guess what? If you don't show up, your business still runs even without you, because you've created systems and processes that can run your show without you even physically being there, all right? That is when you call yourself a business owner. Most people confuse self-employment to being a business owner. Those are two different things when you look at it critically, all right? Business owner. Now, eventually, this is where you have your money working for you. This is where we talk about you're leveraging your money. So your money is making more money for you. Now, instead of being a business owner, I could take the example of a barber still. Let's say this barber, instead of being self-employed, they eventually open a shop and get 5 more chairs. And now they offer those 5 chairs to other barbers so they could cut their hair and pay them something, and pay him a rental fee or whatever it is. Now you're positioning yourself to become a business owner, which means the day you don't show up to work, those other chairs still pay you. You still get money coming in. So now you're a business owner. Now, how about you scale it a little bit further, which is instead of just being a business owner, now I want to be an investor. Now you could say, okay, I see this other person is trying to open a barbershop, or his barbershop is already running, it's successful. So how about he's trying to open a second location or third location or whatever it is. I don't want to open a second location, but I have some money I want to invest in your company. I need 20% of your company or 30% of your company, right? So all you did was give the money, right? So your money is working for you. While you're busy running your own business, your money is doing way more for you as well, all right? That is where you become an investor. This is where your money does the work for you, right? Here you do the work, here other people do the work for you, and here your money does the work for you, all right? Again, just like the other day, this is a whole lot messier than even the previous day, but this just gives you an idea when it comes to starting and owning a business. There's a lot that goes into it. All right, we're gonna make other videos go into the nitty-gritties of what type of business to start, what to consider, how to go about it, how to even birth the idea of starting a business. So if you like this content, make sure you like it and you share it. You subscribe to the channel so we can keep making great content to feed you. And of course, if you are thinking of starting a business and you're just confused, you don't know where to start or how to go about it, reach out to me, reach out to us. I can give you some tips on what I know, and of course, it can help you in your entrepreneurial journey or your business journey or your investment journey. All right. At the end of the day, we want to help each other grow and we want to see each other succeed. Thank you very much. And as always, dare to dream. And until next time, take care.